Good day. This is the Elliott Wave weekly update for gold, silver, and platinum being recorded on Saturday, March the 1st at 1:25 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to start here with gold. No real necessity, but I will pull it out and look at the 5-year, which continues to show that we are in an intermediate third wave up. And that, let me go out to the monthly. I'll just kind of review the whole big picture. So the big picture again is that we have a cycle wave A, cycle wave B. We remain in a cycle C wave. It will consist of 5 waves of primary degree, which actually under that projection projects for much higher levels to come. Within the primary third, we have completed intermediate wave 1 and 2, and now working towards completing that intermediate third wave. So to break it down from there, where are we in that intermediate third wave? And I need to just go to the 3-year weekly. Intermediate wave 3 will consist of 5 waves of minor degree, of which we have 1 and 2 complete. We're still within minor wave 3. In fact, getting close to completing minor wave 3, which will consist of 5 waves of minute degree, of which we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 done. We're in minute wave 5, and within that, we've got minuet waves 1, 2, 3, and likely 4, or very close to 4, being complete, which means we have 1/5 wave up in minuet degree to finish minuet 5, minute 5, and minor wave 3. Now, as some of you may know from following my work, in gold or in the precious metals, they often have a very expansive, a very powerful 5th wave. And it's within that 5th wave that we get a lot of the extensions. Here we're seeing it in the second, or excuse me, in the third, which did in the minute third actually, which did break into its own 5. But my point is here that we're seeing it maybe more than once we get into this 5th wave up. And on the minuet degree, we could subdivide on a sub-minuet level and push the market higher. So I'll be looking for that as well. Now, let me just take it out of that weekly, bring it down back to that daily so we can look inside. So where I left off last is that we had completed the minuet third wave within the minute 5th wave up. And we had looked for and are getting the minuet 4th wave. Now, ever so slight new high here, and that would have come in on the 24th of February at 29.74, which exceeded the high from February, which was 29.68. So we got a little bit higher, but I believe that was still all within threes. And so it ended up being this is A, and that was a B wave, slight irregular, slight. So not enough to really push it in either direction. But I will say that when I measured out on the fibs, that level that it came down to, 28.44, was 1.618, which is where this C wave would be 1.618 times the length of the A wave, which, again, when you're measuring an irregular, as small as it is usually what you look for. So we got that. We reached pretty close to the 0.382 support level for the 4th wave, and that is the most common. One down from that would be 27.96. So while on a daily basis or even a smaller scale, I am continuing to leave open the possibility that we have just one additional slide lower and before this 4th wave is complete. Now, should the market start to break down and go below 27.75, it would invalidate the count as is, but possibly be indicating that we've already finished minute wave 5 and then onward up from there. I don't believe that's the case because as we get closer to 3,000, the market tends to kind of decide, no, we're not doing it this swing around, and then they fall into more of a correction. So far, that continues to fit with the current count. So I don't have any reason to believe that we're not going to find our support and pick up the rally again and start to rally up to finish this minute 5th wave. And again, From that degree, we're looking at, it's going to finish minute wave 5 of minor wave 3. So going back down and taking a look at where our fibs are coming in, and here I'm just going to open this up just a little bit so we can see that once we get done with wave 4 and we run up in a 5th wave, here are our markers or our resistance levels for that to be complete. Again, now using minuet wave 1, putting it over is at the level what we reached on Friday, the Friday's low at 2860. If that completed the move, then from there, our fibs going up would be as follows. 0.618 comes in at 2956, and that would be 0.618 of wave 1 for wave 5. That's not the most common. Of course, the most common is 100%, which is 3025.8. And that is a level that I believe that the market on this push, if and when it begins, then I'm looking for it to go up and break above 3,000 and not get all hung up at around 29.56, 57 up to 75, which we've already been to. But I think there'll be enough power and then we'll just take it up on through. Now, that for minuet wave 5 at 3,025. If we're looking on a minute level, which would be the next level up for a minute wave 5, we've got them out here. And that is where we have 3107, which is 2.618, where minute wave 5 would be 2.618 times minute wave 1 at 3107. What do we also have in that label or in that area? We have here for minuet wave 5, if we break above this 100% marker, the retracement, 100%, where wave 5 would equal wave 1. Above that, we have on the minor degree, again, just going back onto that daily. So the minor degree, we're looking at, well, I got to go further than that. Minor degree, we're looking at minor 3, right? So this measurement would be for minor 3. And it is saying 2.618. So where minor wave 3 would be 2.618 times the length of minor wave 1 at 3,046. So we begin to line up where all of this can complete. Now, again, what we're looking at here is a minuet 5th wave to complete to finish the minuet 5, the minute 5, and then the intermediate wave 3. And so up here makes total sense. We have a little bit of a cluster where we have 100% for wave 5, minuet wave 5 at 3,025. 3,026, and then we have that it doesn't affect the minute until we get above 31, but that doesn't mean that that minute wave 5 has to complete up at that level. And because of the size of the levels, what we're looking at is how, sorry, I got to just pull this over a little bit. And now take it back down and see if I can't find them. And pull those down. And here we have 2.618 sitting there at 3,108. That's because we've already sailed past 1.618. So when it gets up into these upper levels, what I'm going to rely on is the structure itself. I'm looking for a minuet wave 5 to complete the minute wave 5, which will in turn complete the intermediate wave 3. So minute wave 5 can complete once this minuet is finished with 5. Whether it reaches that level or not, that is just an indicator. Should we go past 3,025, should we go past 3,050, then our next resistance is going to come between, let's see, 3,110 or 115, I believe that is, and then the 1.618 for the minuet wave 5, which is 3138. So we start to build it that way when we're looking at how do we continue to calculate moving up. And as we continue to move up, you can see that up in these levels, we have intermediate wave 3. We have 1.618 for intermediate wave 3 at 3307. We have a 2.618 for minuet wave 5, again, above 3,300. Now, remember what I said, that within the fifth wave, that is normally where we start to get some more extensions within that wave. And it's usually a fifth wave that goes the furthest. Now that would be minuet wave 5, and then on top of that, minute wave 5. So we could get it here, but I would think we're going to get it in the fifth wave. And so are these levels out of the picture? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. And again, there are plenty of things going on around the world that could harvest a more stronger rally in gold or bring about a stronger rally in gold. So we'll continue to just kind of keep a monitor on it as what is actually happening. Now, what kind of gives a little bit of support to the fact that this minuet wave 4 is complete is that the market it was down over 40 and managed to work its way higher into the final moments of, or in the final hours of Friday's trade. So I continue to remain optimistic that one, that gold is going to go above 3,000, and that I believe that it should eventually get above 3,000, 3,100, 3,200, and 3,300 before the entire sequence up out to the intermediate third wave is complete. All right, so let's just take a look. Our moving averages again here on the weekly didn't really budge during that downturn, although we do have the eight period on a weekly chart kind of getting flat right there, and that's where the market is also finding some support, pretty much right at that area. And then the 20 continues to move higher, the 50 is pushing higher, and the 200 are pushing higher. We can come down and take a look and see what it's done on the daily, if anything. And we see that, yep, we got a little bit of a downturn in the 8, which you would expect. It's only an 8 period. The 20 period is kind of rolling over, but now likely will start to go flat if the market continues to rally until eventually broken. And then, but they're still recognizing the correction, but still in alignment. If they turn, they're in alignment to go up. And that would come about because we have the 8 on top, the 20, the 50, the 200. So still, at least on a daily basis, still looking pretty strong, like we will. This is just a correction. We'll find our bottom, and then we'll rise if we haven't yet. And then we'll begin to go up again in the minuet fifth wave. Over in silver, silver also continues to pull back. Now here, again, I've been looking for a C wave down, a minute C wave down. If I go and I look at the largest picture that I got, that's not going to tell us much. So let me go to the 5-year chart. In the 5-year chart, we have an intermediate wave A and intermediate wave B. So we're in an intermediate C wave up. It'll consist of 5 waves of minor degree, of which we are, I believe, in the minor fourth wave correction. So we're getting set here as well to join again with gold and other metals, where we're looking for a much stronger rally to pick up again. Now, before that, as I've counted, even here, you can see that within minor wave 4, we pretty much have got the A and the B, and we're starting the C wave down, but the market has actually slowed down on the decline. I'm going to bring it down to the daily chart, and we can see, okay, how are we dropping? So we have 1, 2. I'm not sure if that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is going to be the fifth wave. It could, because we're looking for that C wave down on the minuet level. So these are sub. So I would say 1, 2, possibly 3, 4, and we're in that fifth. I'd like to get it, of course, closer to some of our fib levels. The first being the 618 for the minute degree, and a minute C wave to come in at 6.618, which shows the underlying strength of a rally still waiting to take over. So there is some underlying building of support, and then it would be considered a failure here if we got an A, B, and the C was here. But it also would be very clear that the market's intent is to thrust back up and out of all of this and pick up that rally. So when the market is not dropping as quickly or into the support areas, usually is kind of a sign of the undertone is strength. Now, in the meantime, I think we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're still looking for the fifth wave down. And again, silver, precious metal, it's usually within the fifth that we get those extensions, and the market pushes a little bit harder than what we would look at in the third. But two ways to look at it right now on the daily, but I will drop it down. Let's take a look on the 4-hour chart, open it up and see what we got. We got the 1-2 or the AB. I'm going to leave it as 1-2. And then we have 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, actually, it just appears to me that we don't have too much additional left, maybe one additional swing. But again, right now, what I think that could be building in the market, and may not, maybe I'm picking up the wrong signal, but I'm looking that a lot of the selling is being absorbed and the bids are staying firm above 30. Now that to me is a pretty good deal. Now back out here. So if I had to go 1, 2, 1 of C, 2 of C, and we're in 3, maybe we need a little bit more in 3 to get a 4, and then we still get a 5. And that hopefully is going to start to bring us down into here. So again, we're above. We can see that we're in an intermediate fourth wave. 382 is 30.07, so $30.07. But ultimately, we'd look for the C wave to get below the A wave, which that low is 2944 or 2945. And we have support at 3628, 37, 30.07. And then we have 88.2 in terms of the C wave at 2895 or 29, somewhere in that area. And then the fall would be that the market drops in an intermediate a minor fourth wave and hits that 50% mark, which comes in at 2831, and where wave C would be equal to wave A is at 2821. So this becomes a pretty good cluster, but actually I'm going to say from here. So I think that silver still has a little bit more downside to go, and we'll see how quickly that can be put in. And it's also suggestive that gold may also have some additional downside to do. Silver might outpace it, but I think that silver won't continue to slide substantially if gold begins to rally from here. So we're keeping an eye on that. Again, still longer term, I am looking for silver. Let me get back over to my weekly chart to 35, but we have upper levels. We have 40 to 44. And those are on the primary degree, which we know we're in as well. That's just 618, by the way. But on the minor degree, that would be over there, and that needs to be coming down because we're finished. Let me do something a little bit different, and we're going to go back and see. We're going to be looking for, we don't necessarily have minor wave 4, but if I had to pick somewhere, and I picked it right there, just where that low is, and we can realize that 100 is 37 and 1.618 is 42. So again, not that I'm looking here in silver to make new all-time highs, because that would push the market. Let me get rid of this guy right there. So on the primary degree, again, let me go all the way out because this is what I got to do to really take a look at this. Come on, right there. So we have the big W, we have an X, and now we're looking for that Y wave. And so I think at a minimum, we get back to 40, but the 1.618 is 46. And on the primary degree, primary wave Y, we could get all the way up to 57, which again would be a new all-time high. More likely, we'll probably, I think, 46 to 49. Maybe it'll touch 50 like it did in 1980. So, it got to, in January of 1980, I got to $50. And it has attempted only once to actually exceed that level. It got to 49.82 before collapsing back down. Maybe this is the try in the Y wave, but I'm not necessarily looking for it to break above that level, but it could. In which case, then we have some higher levels here. So right now, I'm looking 46, 47, up to maybe 49 or 50 for this Y wave here. So there's still plenty of upside momentum or upside potential in silver as well. So again, first up, and a little bit closer, tighter range of time frame, I'm looking for a continuation to finish this minute C wave, and then to begin the next leg, which would be the minor wave 5 up. Get this down, finish that minor 4, begin minor wave 5, look for some extensions within that 5 waves up, more likely the 3rd, and then again the 5th. All right, so just taking a quick review of our moving averages here as well. We have, this is on the daily, we have the 8 crossing over the 20. Both are pretty much heading lower, but we got the 50 just turning, and maybe we'll stay and go flat unless we start to really hit it again hard. Then the 50 is going to turn, and it'll be the 200's job to provide support. And that would come in here, 39, actually 30, 1, and then 36.28 if it breaks through. But that break could drive it substantial and get it below 30. Again, not necessary that the C wave needs to come down and break to a new low below the A. That's the normal expectation, but failures do occur, and failure could occur here as well. All right, finally over into platinum. Platinum is continuing its pattern in that we are looking for a minor degree. Let me open this all the way up. Take a look here. I've got a minor degree E wave as a part of that larger triangle to finish and put in an intermediate B wave. Then I'm going to be looking for an intermediate C wave, which should be pretty strong, similar to what we did here. And that, to me, is going to be the result of finishing the triangle. And originally, a while back, I had put the E wave here looking for that to do it, and during the customary seasonal period for it to break above 1,075, 1,080. That did not happen. We actually got up to 1,063, 1,064 before the market then turned lower again. And that was in that seasonal period of when producers, actually users of platinum, do their purchasing for 2025, let's say. So here we are. That being done, the market begins to decline. I believe it is declining in 3, which is important. I'm going to say, even though because it's been pretty sharp drop thus far, that we've got A, B, or we're going to come down and finish an A wave, bounce back up in a B wave, and then come back down in a C wave to finish minor wave E. And then again, once that's done, intermediate wave B. It's been a long haul. This has now been in play since, yeah, it'll be right there. That's the A wave? Yeah, it's actually been longer. This whole triangle pattern has been in play. Let me go out one more. Go to the 5-year. There was the high and there was the low. So that was the A wave down. So this whole triangle pattern has basically been in place since that high, which was 2021. And this low was 2022. So we've been 2 years plus in this sideways action. So I'm looking for that. And then I think just the intensity of the getting out of this triangle may spring some life, because in actuality, what's happening inside the E wave is the E wave is breaking down to a triangle, which is not as common, but not that uncommon in the markets, to where we get a triangle within a triangle. So it is a larger B wave triangle, and within that, the E wave is now A, B, C, D, and we're coming down in the E. Hopefully that completes it. And so, yeah, I probably would look for it to go down and at least test below that low, which is 907. Maybe test down here, which is 895. I'm not looking for it to break deeply below this line, because it's held so solidly for years now. So I would hope that it would continue to hold, and before we again turn and we start to thrust up and out of the triangle. Now, moving averages, they're all, look at that 200 flat. This is the 5-year, weekly, flat 200, flat 50, basically flat 20, and a downturn in the 8. So this has not been showing any strength for quite some time, and that keeps us in this type of a pattern. So my hope would be is that as we come down and we bottom here, we thrust up and out, that these start to get back in alignment and all of them start heading higher, turning quickly and heading higher. All right, that's going to be it. I'm going to, again, my intent is to really start at least weekly updates on the precious metals. And I am working on getting a couple of guests who part of their specialty and one of their analysis and their work is in gold or in the precious metals, so that we start to build some coverage here. And eventually, if there's enough interest, I will start a daily, or maybe 3 times a week, plus the, ending with the weekly on the picture in gold, silver, and platinum. And you can always leave me a comment if that would interest you. And that gives me a little bit more probability, I guess you could say, as to actually beginning to do more of a 3 times a week, or at least twice a week, or even a daily. And then, being that we have 4 days, and then on Friday or the weekend, we get the weekly coverage as well. And that I would prefer to do just on my channels that I have already in place. So my thought process is not necessarily to break away and then push gold or the gold, silver, and platinum over to a membership level. I want to leave it open, and because I know a lot of people like hearing what I'm doing. So there you have that. So anyway, this is going to complete it for today. And at least let me know what interest level you would have. If weeklies are suffice, then weeklies it shall be. And you'd at least be able to get this once a week. Thank you very much for checking it out again. And at bare bottom, the next update will be next Saturday.